Hello. Ah, it works. Ah, it works. Oops. Rico. Oh my goodness. So I see that someone is there. Do you hear me? Let's remove the technical difficulty because I think there is no longer any technical difficulty. Oh, I hate OBS. That's really whatever. Anyway, let's have fun. So, today, FFG, the people making Keyforge, have released a new add-on that they announced a couple of months ago, which is an adventure mode which includes a solo mode. Well, it's not just solo. It's a solo and multiplayer mode for Keyforge. So for those who don't know Keyforge is normally a two-player game. So one player, another player, like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or everything. And well, a new mode that allows to play with more than two players is a big thing, or even to play in solo. It's a big thing. So don't look too much to the quality of the print because my printer decided that red was optional. So yeah, that's a print and play game version. So it's still unclear if they are going to release any real version of the game without, that you can buy. The game Keyforge, you can buy it. You definitely can buy Keyforge, but they don't say if they haven't said if they are going to sell the adventure mode. So this is just one scenario. They are going to release another one later, I think in June, if I remember correctly. Don't remember. Whatever, doesn't really matter. But they are going to release another mod which may allow to have more players. So it's a print to play. So you basically download some PDF file and print the cards by yourself. This one is inverted, which is not great. So I've used different cards as back. You can clearly see that there are some playing cards, there are some Pokemon cards. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, my printer decided to give up the red color. So yeah, they should be better than that. This should be reddish. I mean, yeah, not yellow, but it's a first test, so we'll see how it is. Doesn't matter. It's just for the fun anyway. There is nothing to win. I mean, other than my pride by losing against the Keyraken. Oh dear. For people who haven't played, don't know Keyforge, there are probably not many people in the chat, and probably, well, there's no one in the chat right now. But yeah, I will probably say that again, but if you have any question about Keyforge, feel free to ask. That's an interesting game made by Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic: The Gathering. It's a form of collectible card game, but unlike Magic or Pokemon, you don't buy boosters of cards and make your deck. You buy a full deck. So these are two different decks from different sets. There's been 5 setups so far, so that's the set number 4, Mass Mutation, the set number 5, Dark Tidings, that they just released. What? I mean, okay, not everywhere because pandemic, but that has been released not worldwide, so yeah, not probably every country have it now, but here in the UK we were part of the last, so yeah, I think it was mid-April that they released it, so yeah. So these two are two of the last deck. So when you buy a deck, it's a unique deck. So every deck are different. So you don't do deck building, you do deck buying. So each deck are different. So you have a common pool of cards for each set, and your deck is made by an algorithm somewhere at somewhere in the creator computers where they decide how each deck is made. So in theory, each deck is balanced to some extent, but well, there are always decks which are a bit stronger than the other. There are decks that are at advantage against another and everything. So it's interesting because as you are not doing deck building, you have to understand how your deck is working. And well, yeah, the way the game is working is also slightly different from, let's say, Magic, where you what are the main difference? The main difference between Keyforge and Magic is that you, for example, when you have, that's an action card, but let's play creature. So when you have creatures like that, you use them and you ready them at the end of your turn, not at the beginning of your turn, like Magic, for example, and you draw cards up to 6 by default. Oh, I need to check what they say in the rule for this mount. I don't think they say anything about how many cards you have to draw at the beginning. So when you use your cards, you ready them at the end of your turn, and you fill your hand up to 6, unless you have something that says different in what is on the board. But you draw cards from your pile at the end of your turn. So if I had just 2 cards in my hand, I would draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are also houses, which there are different houses. So each set have its own set of houses. I mean, they are recurrent if you take Mass Mutation. The houses are there, so we have 7 houses per set. For example, in Mass Mutation, there were this house, which is called this, that was removed from the pool for the next set and replaced by this, which is an absolutely unpronounceable word in English, which is unfathomable. I will try to not pronounce it too many times. But yeah, so there are different houses. So when you start your turn, you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have too many cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have to decide which house you want to play for that turn. So for the example, I could use this house, which oops, I'm not. So I could use that house, which is called Sanctum. And if I choose this house, I can only play cards and use cards on the board from that house. If I choose this house, which is called Untamed, I can only play cards or use cards on the board from that house. That's the restriction. I can also only discard cards. So basically, the other cards cannot be used on that turn. I can discard, I can play the cards, but I cannot do anything with cards from another house. So that's so this card is part of the deck. That's a special card which is called the Archon card. The Archon is the name of the. I mean, the deck is an Archon. I'm not going to be in the lore of Keyforge, but that's the name of your deck, and that's basically the name of the Archon, which is represented by this deck. So it's Rev Piv Who Holds about Harbinger. So each names are printed. The name is printed on every single card. So it's every deck is unique, and just because of that, every deck is unique. And even in the front, if you look, the name of the name of the deck is on every single card. So that make them completely unique. There is no other deck with that card with that name at the bottom. They are all. I mean, you can have that card in another deck. I do have that card in another deck, but it's yeah, that make all of these cards completely unique. So these are the three houses of that deck. If I take this one, for example, the house set is different. So the Archon cards is basically the cards that list all the cards. It's a card that lists all the cards from this deck. So it's used in different. I mean, it's used for yourself to know what is in the deck, obviously. It's used in tournament to an official tournament to check that you are not cheating and that your deck is what it is. So all the cards are there. Yeah, it's also used by your opponent. So your opponent cannot look your deck, but he can look at that card to see what is in your deck. Meaning that it's useful to know the name of the card, obviously, and to know what they are. And all Keyforge players right now are all in the same situation. As Dark Tidings adds a lot of new cards. I'm pretty sure that some people already know all the cards from Dark Tidings, but yeah, I'm far from. And there are a lot of new cards in this set, so lots of new effects. So it's fun. It's like discovering the game again. It's fun. So what else? So just to finish about how Keyforge work before going into the adventure mode. So the normal way of playing the game is when you play against an opponent, you have 3 keys. So in this case, they are represented by this metal plate. So they are in 2 states. So they are in the unforged state or in the forged state. And to win the game, you have to forge your 3 keys before your opponent. And to forge a key, you need to renumber. So in that case, I'm using these tokens to mark numbers. So you need to gain number, and when at the beginning of your turn you have exactly 6 amber, you can use these 6 amber, remove them from your own pool of amber, and forge a key. And when you forge all keys, yes, you've won. What else? There are different type of cards. You have creatures, a bit like Magic. You have 2 numbers. I mean, these have just 1 because they don't have any armor. So this one have 2 armor. So you have the power of the creature, the armor of the creature. Probably will go in. I mean, no, it's not probably. We definitely will go into that playing the solo mode because, I mean, the way the game works is close to the original. You have creatures, you have action cards that. Oh yeah, and that's also really important. A normal Keyforge, and that's also basically how it works in this way. You don't have instant card like Pokemon or Magic. You do your turn, you end your turn, the opponent play, and when the opponent plays, you can do nothing. You can have cards that have an effect that happen during your opponent's turn, but that's all. You cannot. I cannot play an instant card says no, you cannot do that. It's not legal. You don't have the right. You have no instant card like that. So you action cards are cards you can only play during your turn. Creatures, action, artifact. So artifact is it's a bit similar to what is in Magic to some extent. They give you a bonus. They are not a creature, so they cannot be fought. They just, for example, action, move 1 amber from a creature to another creature. So if I add 2 creature there and amber here, I could use this artifact to move the amber from that creature to that creature. What other type of cards actions? I don't even know if I have any in this deck. Yes, there are upgrade cards. Upgrade card is a card that you add to a creature and that gives some effect to the creature. It's reasonably straightforward. I mean, the basic rule of the games is reasonably simple. It's not very complicated to learn how to play. It's like all games. Where it's complicated is to learn how cards interact each other because there are a lot of things that can interact in bad and good way. Let's hope more for the good way. Another mechanics which probably not going to happen in this mode, but never know. There is a concept of chains. The chains are, you generally have a tracker. So this one is a fancy tracker, but generally when you start, you just have basically a card where you have a token that you can put on it. So when you gain chains, for example, if you have 5 chains, you have this 5 chains. You have this number there, which is -1. That means that at the end of your turn, you draw your normal number up -1. So if I had 5 chains, I would have to draw up to 5 cards. And every time you are able to draw cards, you lose a chain, you lose a chain, you lose a chain. But by default, you start with 0 chains, so that means that you draw up to 6. So nothing special there. And that also means I need to check something in the rules, because when you start the game, so the first player, when you start a normal game, the first player draws 7 cards, but on his first turn can only play 1 card. The second player draws 6 cards. Just need to check what they say about that, if we need to draw 6 or draw 7. So how to play winning and losing, blah blah blah. So game setup, place the Keyraken, it's there. Shuffle the adventure deck. So the Keyraken have its own set of cards, which are about the same. You have action cards. That's an artifact here. You also have upgrades and creatures. Create a command supply, which is my box here. So this box have a lot of different tokens. We'll go through them if needed. I mean, probably the one which is going to be the most used are the damage token, which is just to track damage applied to creatures. And we will see that when we do fight. And it's yeah, let's put that here. Let's put my keys here. I'm not sure what is on shot. Okay, enough is on shot. Probably don't need a token box to be visible, so let's move it away. I don't know how big the board is going to be, so it's a bit it's a bit interesting. So this card is a special card. It's called the Tide card. It's a new mechanic in Dark Tidings. It's to some extent it's a bit similar to the Stadium card in Pokemon, but there is just one, and it's not really considered to be in place. So the Tide can be high or can be low. It do impact how the game works, and certain cards, well, at least in Dark Tidings, but certain cards. I must have at least one. Yeah. So some cards have this Tide symbol here, and after Venator item is dealt damage. If the Tide is low, Exalt. Exalt is adding Umber on top of the creature. So yeah, the Tide being low or high have different effects on what you have to do. So next step is shuffle the adventure deck, create the command supply. Best setup ever. Each player shuffle an Archon deck chosen from their collection and draw 6 cards. Okay. Starting out. So we do as a second player. Okay. Interesting. So let's draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And can mulligan as usual. So if I'm not happy with that hand, lots of Sanctum cards, which is not bad. It's not bad to, I mean, even though the card is not necessarily good, depends, I have no idea there. It's not bad to have a lot of cards from the same house, because that means that you can play basically more cards. Yeah. I would put them there, but as soon as I'm going to have a board, it's going to be a bit difficult to have my own board there and the Keyraken one. So player begin the game with 3 Unforged Key, which is visible. Yes. Blah 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 blah. So we'll start. How to play. Take turn. They select a turn order. Who play first? Well, me. If applicable, who will play second and who will play third? After the turn order is established, it cannot change. Okay, fair enough. Play a turn. They all follow. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. Keyraken turn. So I think it's me who start. Yes. Okay. So I'm not sure I'm going to. Well, as I'm slow, the Keyraken. Let's look at what the camera says. Okay, so the Keyraken power is equal to 30 times the number of players. I'm alone, so it's 30. So it's become a 30, and the Keyrakens only deal 3 damage when fighting. The Keyraken gets +2 or more for each Unforged Key the active player have. Oh, I say something. Whatever. So I have 3 Unforged Keys, so it currently have 2 times 3, so 6 armor, which is annoying. Let's be honest, 6 armor is difficult to get through. Well, it's really difficult to get through. And when the Keyraken is destroyed, the player wins the game. Ooh. So yeah, let's start and see what happened. So it seems that there is no, even if I go first, there is no first turn like normal, so however, player ignore the first turn rule, which restricts the first player from playing more than one card during their turn. Okay, good. So I can play as many cards as I want on the first turn, which is great. Okay. So let's check the camera out. So yeah, not going to show the Keyraken in full because I'm probably going to need a lot of space to put everything on board. So let's put the tide here and let's start. So as I decided to keep my hand, I'm going to play Sanctum. So for the render, each creature gain Assault X, where X is the number of forge key your opponent have. Oh, I see. That's something that I would have to check. Just the number of. Well, let's check the rules because it's not really clear. So first, let's play these creatures because I'm not going to. I'm not going to do anything. I mean, I'm going to play that just for the Amber, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to fight anyway. So when you play a creature, so play fight. So these cards have Martial Iwa, have a play fight effect. So raise the tide. So when I'm going to play it, creature and artifact enter play non-ready, so you cannot use them during the turn you play them. So as I play fight, raise the tide being low right now, I'm raising it. And when the tide is high, the cost for the Keyraken to advance is 6 amber per player, so just 6, like the normal key cost. After the Keyraken advance, lower the tide. The Keyraken doesn't have any amber anyway. While the tide is high, each friendly armor get +2 armor. Oh, that's going to be fun to track. After the player rise the tide, a creature they control capture 2 from their opponent. That is going to be fun too. Then this Avenging Aura, I'm just going to play it and discard it. That's an action card that give assault 2, but I cannot fight, but at least I get 1 amber, which is always good. So that's the end of my turn. I cannot do anything else, so I'm going to ready my cards and draw up to 6, so I have 2, draw 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I have more cards. That is interesting. I picked that deck and random. I have absolutely no idea if it's going to work well against the this mod, because this mod is going to be brutal. So let's check to make sure that I'm not doing something really stupid. The Keyraken turn. So during the Keyraken turn, it performs several steps that mirror the step of a player's turn. It attempts to advance and then active player draw and use adventure card to resolve the Keyraken turns. Blah, blah, blah. So it tried to advance but doesn't have any amber, so it cannot advance. Which is good because I don't want it to advance at all. Because if you advance 4 times, I lose. So, and it needs 6 amber because the tide is high. So the cost is modified by card effect, blah 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 blah. Okay, so this is good. Why I was thinking about that? I was thinking about that because I have cards. I think I have cards that raise the key cost. Okay, the Keyraken does not have enough amber to advance. It does not do so yet, obviously, and none of the amber is spent. The Keyraken can only advance once during each of its turn. Yeah, that's good too. Blah 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 blah. The active player draw adventure card. So during the Keyraken, the active. Player draw each card in the Keyraken archive, so there is no archive. And then draw the top 2 cards from the adventure deck. Each time a player draws an adventure card, they play the card immediately before drawing the next card. The card, blah 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 blah. Okay, so what's the first card? The first card is an artifact. Yeah. That's my battle line. Let's move my hand away. Oops. What I've just done is wrong, but whatever. So the battle line, you cannot. The battle line is important. You cannot swap the order of the cards, and you can only play creatures on the side of your battle line. So I draw an artifact which have action stun, exhaust one of your creature that is not already stunned. Yeah. Oh yeah, and unlike normal cards, the your here is me, not the Keyraken, obviously. That's great. So that's great because, I mean, that's great. If the Keyraken do exhaust one of my creature, as I do ready the creature at the end of my turn, I will not be able to use them. That's a good start. So I will put his artifact here. I don't know if it's going to fit. Anyway, so that's an artifact. Then I draw another card, which is a creature, which prays. So that's an so pray the least powerful flank creature. So flank creatures are creatures on the side of the battle line. So these are my 2 flank creatures. Destroy, deal 3 damage to the Keyraken, ignoring armor, which is always good. We'll go into fighting very soon because that's going to happen. So then, once this card are considered to be played by the Keyraken, the opponent, for the purpose of card abilities, do the interplay ready or not? I'm not sure. And then draw the cards are considered to be played by the Keyraken, the opponent, for the purpose of card abilities. If cards are added to the archive during this step, this blah 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 blah. Each creature enter play exhaust. Okay, that's good. So it's not going to be able to fight this turn. Each creature enter play exhaust on the right flank. That's the right flank. Each artifact on the play exhausted near the Keyraken, but this time from the battle line. Yeah, like normal artifact. And there is no action card, no upgrade, so that's good. There is no... Oh, I forgot. There is this a Pip Amber bonus icon here. So when you play a card which have that, I forgot to tell, but that's what happened here. You gain 1 amber. So the Keyraken gain 1 amber. Any bonus icon. The Keyraken and his creature are used. During this step, the Keyraken is used first, and then each ready creatures in battle line is used, starting from blah 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 blah. When a Keyraken is used, it rip and gain 1. So it's just going to rip. So rip is an effect that every creature can do, even if it's not written on the card. So when you use a card to rip, you basically just gain 1 amber. So in that case, the Keyraken rip and gets 1 amber. Each enemy artifact is used. It doesn't have any ready. Then it ready everything, and that's the end of its turn. So that's now the beginning of my own turn, which is going to be fun. So, should I play Untame or Sanctum? What do we have? Chelonia. After you play another creature, if the tide is high, gain 1 amber. Okay. I'm not sure if I need to race. Well, racing to make a key is not worth, because even if I forge all of my keys, I'm not going to win. The only way to win this mod is to kill the Keyraken. So... that means fighting. Hey. Remove up to 3. No, that's not worth. There is no any pot counter. It deal only 3 damage, which is good. Okay. Okay, I'm going for Sanctum because I can make a lot of amber, and at the same time I can deal. I probably can deal some damage. Okay, so let's go Sanctum. I'm going to play that artifact. I'm not going to play that card yet because I will fight and play that. So as I have the Tide Eye, because of that card, every single creature have +2 armor. So this one have 2 armor, this one 4, this one 4, which is absolutely brilliant. So I can fight reasonably easily. So do I fight directly the Keyraken, or do I fight this thing? I'm going to fight the Keyraken, so the order here doesn't really matter. So I'm going to do them in order. So I'm going to fight with that one. So actually so how fighting is working. So you have these two values there. So the power value and the armor. So this creature right now, because of the effect of that one, is a 6/4. So when you attack a creature, the first thing that happens is if you take magic, this is basically the attack level of your creature. So the first thing is the Keyraken is currently a 36, so 30 power and 6 armor. So when I attack with that, I deal 6 damage. The first thing that the damage is doing is going against the armor. So by fighting with that on the Keyraken, I basically lower the armor to 0. So each point of attack here is going through to the armor. So the armor is lowered by 1 for each point here. So the Keyraken no longer have armor for my turn. So now if I fight with these two, I will deal 4 and 3, which is a big number because my brain is not working. So that's 7. So I'm going to deal 7 damage to the Keyraken, which is not too bad. So that is 5 and 2. So, and obviously the opposite also happens. So this one have 4 armor. So the Keyraken only deal 3 damage and not 30, which is good because that would, if it was 30, that would mean insta. Oh wait. Oh wow. I just thought about something. Sorry. So this card currently have 4 armor. So that means that the 3 damage is just lowering the armor up to 1. So that doesn't do any damage to that creature. Same for that one, because it also have a base of 2 armor. But this one doesn't have armor by default. So just because of its own effect, it gets 2 armor. So the armor is lowered by the damage dealt by the Keyraken. So I take 1 damage on this creature. Because 2 minus 3 minus 2 remain 1, so I take 1 damage. When a creature have more damage, at least not more damage, well, it can be more, but equal or more than its own power, the creature is destroyed and removed from the battle line. So that's all about fighting. But now I'm going to use Cleansing Wave. So Cleansing Wave is heal 1 damage from each creature. I think that works. That's... Oh. Whatever, I'm going to count... The Keyraken doesn't count as creature in every single circumstances, but in that case I think it does count. So I'm removing 2 damage. That may sound a bit weird to remove damage from your opponent, but gain 1 damage for each creature healed this way. So I get... Did I say armor? I wanted to say amber. So I get 2 amber. So no, I have 3 amber in my pool. And that's the end of my turn. I have 4 cards in my hand, so I draw up to 6. I draw 2. Probably going for Scion next turn. Well, we'll see. Okay, so now it's the Keyraken. The Keyraken have 2 amber. Why does he have 2 amber? Oh yes, because of ripping and that. Great. So draw the first card, which is an action card. Shuffle the adventure discard pile into the doesn't have any into the adventure deck. Then the Keyraken archive 3 adventure cards. If the tide is high, you may lower the tide instead. Difficult choice. I can. So archive is a mechanic in the games, which is not possible with every deck because it's not automatic. You have certain cards that give you the ability to archive. So archive is a specific location on the board where you put cards face down that you put in your archive. So let's say that this is my archive here. So when you start your turn, you can say, I'm taking my archive. So that is card which is not in your hand. It doesn't count when they still are in your archive. It doesn't count as your up to your hand limit. So you can have more cards in your hand than your hand limit. But what happens is that at the end of your turn, you doesn't draw any card if you have more than 6 cards. So that's a way to be able. The archive is a way to be able to play a lot of cards, more cards than normal during your turn. But when you begin your turn, you can say, yeah, I'm going to take my archive, but you have to take the whole thing. So you may have card that doesn't fit in what you are going to play. So you can always, you, the player who owns the archive, you can always look at your archive at any point during the game. You're not limited, you are not forced to remember what is in your archive. Your opponent cannot look at your archive. That's another thing. Your opponent can look at your discard pile, but not, obviously, your draw pile and not your hand, unless there is a card that says so. I think I'm going to lower the tide because, so what happens is when cards are put in the Keyraken archive, he plays all of his archive on his next turn. So that means that doing that is going to play 5 cards on the next turn, which could be really bad. So I'm going to not let him do that. So I'm going to discard that and lower the tide. Okay, then I'm playing the second card, which is another creature which have taunt. So taunt is an interesting effect. Well, not for me right now, but when a creature has taunt, that means that if I want to fight this creature, I can't. I'm forced to fight the taunt creature which is next to it. So a creature with taunt protects the two creature next to it. At least that's a good thing. It's not next to the Keyraken, because that means I still can fight the Keyraken. Huh. Okay. So then, the Keyraken is going to rip, because that's how it works. Then this one is, because of the prey keyword on it, is going to, so Keyraken creatures with prey attack and not rip. So the least powerful flank creatures, so both of my flank creatures have the... Oh, I forgot about that. So that means I no longer have armor. Whatever, I've done it. It's too late to change. So the least powerful flank creature, so they both are the same. Oh, what does that say? Lower the tide instead. After a player raised the tide, that technically means that he raised the tide. So one of these creatures, and that was the only one in place, so does capture 2 of my amber. So capture, that means that amber is taken from my pool and put on a creature. So, and if I kill that creature, I get the amber which is on it. So this is going to fight one of my seneschals. So I'm going to fight that one. So I only have 2 or more, so that means that lower to 7. My seneschal die, but this one takes 6 damage. So it's up to 3 to die, which is not too bad. This one is going to rip. I should put the discard pile in another location because I'm going to take them as artifact. This one rips. We have no 4 amber, which is way too high. And so this one is dead. Exhaust and stun and exhaust one of your creature that is not already stunned. So stunned is a token that you put on a creature. When a creature is stunned, the only thing you can do with that creature is to do a special action, which is basically unstun. So you cannot use your creature for anything like fighting or ripping when it's stunned. As I have the choice, I'm going to stun and exhaust that one because this one I want to use the oh wait, I'm not going to kill it. Wait, do we have anything there to raise the tide? No, I have nothing to raise the tide. Huh. Interesting. Well, I'm still doing that because I mean this is a passive effect, so it doesn't matter if it's stunned or not. Where this effect, the play fight, raise the tide, it's an active effect, so I need to be able to use the card I need to use the normal effect of the card to gain that effect. Because if I want to raise the tide, your team loses a total of 2 amber per player as a group. If you do raise the tide, and currently I have only 1. Anyway, so this one is currently stunned and not exhausted, which is great. So that's and the Keyraken turn. Next, it's my turn. What do I do? I need to. Yes, I definitely need to raise the tide because I don't want the Keyraken to be able to advance next turn because it have enough amber. So I'm not going to let it advance for 3. So yeah. Well, will go. Ooh. If I do that, I cannot fight. This effect is good. Before fight, move 1 number from this creature to the creature at fight. Let's go science. So I'm going to play this creature on that side and this creature Nope. I'm going to play them this way. I don't want... this one... I mean, this one is only fighting flank creatures, so I don't want that one to be on the flank. I mean, if it's not the least powerful right now. Oh, wait. I don't want that one to be on flank either, so let's do that this way. Okay. It's not great, but... well. So these are exhausted. I cannot use them. I cannot use Sanctum because I'm playing with Scion for that turn. So this creature again, before fight, move one number from this creature to the creature at fight. I'm going to place this upgrade here because and again one number from it, which I'm going to use right away to turn the tide. So the Keyraken is not going to be able to advance on the next turn because it doesn't have enough amber. So I ready all of my stuff. And it's now the Keyraken. Oh, well, I need to draw 3. 1, 2, and a 3. That may be useful. So that's not great to not have any Sanctum card in my hand. So I don't know how important it is in this mod because that's the first time I try it. But in normal Keyforge, not being able to cycle a deck is never good. You want to go through your card reasonably fast. Okay, so the Keyraken cannot advance because he doesn't have enough amber. That's fine for me. So I draw one card, which is another creature, which the Keyraken steal one from you. Oh my goodness. So stealing is a bit like capture. The difference between... oh, I forgot about that. As I move the tide, I capture 2 from it. And I'm going to put that amber on that creature because of the upgrade. Yeah, so stealing is taking from the pool and moving from your opponent pool and moving to your own amber pool. So the Keyraken steal 1 from you. Great. Next is an action card. Put one of your creatures, so this give a number to the Keyraken. Put one of your creatures on the bottom of your deck. If the tide is high, the Keyraken archive 1 adventure card. Great. You know, I'm going to put this one because it's not a bad card, but that's... oh crap. Well, that's... I'm going to lose a lot of cards this turn. Whatever I do. I'm going to put that one at the bottom of my deck. And this thing, archive 1 card. Well, I'm going to put the archive here. So I've played it on 2 cards. It's going to rip again. This one is going to attack my least powerful flank creature, which is this one. Which... oh, that's not too bad. I mean, I lose this effect, but this one doesn't have armor, so I lose my creature here because... oh, wait. 4, no, that's 8 total, so lose that creature, but this one die. So I get this 2 amber back because I killed that creature. I mean, I dealing 4 damage, it has 6 damage. For me, that's more than enough. I needed to do 3. So this one die, move all the battle line there. Just hope that town doesn't apply to the Keyraken. Just checking. Just checking. Because that means I cannot attack that up so far. And 6-3 is okay, the Keyraken. So the adventure is on blah 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 blah. Mythorical, the sea is some card represented by an oversized card. Each time the Keyraken takes a turn, blah blah blah. While it play in most way as as if it were a creature, the Keyraken is not a creature, and card abilities that affect creature cannot affect the creature. Additionally, if the Keyraken is not a creature in its battle line, player can always fight against it. Okay, great. 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 I can fight it, even if that one has stunned. I was afraid. Okay, great. That's my hand here. Okay, so destroy. Oh, and by being destroyed, I deal 3 damage to the Keyraken, which is never bad. Let's put a token of 3. So it's so far it's 5 and it's 9 damage. It's already done about a third of damage, which is not too bad. So this one doesn't have a pre-effect, so it's just going to reap, and the Keyraken is going to advance very soon, I fear. Okay, that's the end of the Keyraken turn. Start of my own turn. So, what should I do? What should I do? I definitely need to play creature to be able to protect my area of the lake, because this +2 armor is absolutely vital. I'm tempted to play Untamed. I'm really tempted to play Untamed. I'm not sure I'm going to play Ambermancy though. Oh, no, I can play it just to get the Amber. Because it says remove up to 3 +1 part counter from a creature. Gain 1 Amber from each counter removed this way. Basically, that means that ripping means that it get 2 Amber. That's wonderful. I mean, if I have Amber. If I don't have Amber, obviously it's just 1. Yeah, I don't want to remove the power counter because I want them to be as deadly as possible. So I think I'm going to play Untamed. Add this creature. The first time this creature is attacked each turn. Oh, that is great. That is great to have them. So I'm going to have both of them on the flank, because the first time they are attacked. Oh, it's not going to attack anyway. But the first time they are attacked, they don't get any damage because they have the keyword elusive there. So they both are there. I'm going to play that card that give me a number. So give each friendly creature a +1 power counter. So power counter, this small counter, the 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, 1. Let's do a thing in order. I play that, then I play that. So by the effect of this one, after you play another creature, if the tide is high, which is this, I gain 1 Amber. So I also gain 1 Amber. Then I play my action card here. which give friendly power counter. So these are the power counter. So each creature gets a power counter. That means that their power level is increased by 1. And until you remove the power counter with a card like this one, where you can remove power counter, for example. So 1, 2, 3 for these two. So that means that this one is dealing 6 damage now, this one is dealing 3 damage, and so on. Can also take up to 3 damage before it gets killed. Then I'm going to play that, which is a play effect. Remove up to 3 plus 1 power counter, but I'm not forced to. Gain 1 amber for each power counter removed this way. I don't want to remove any, but I want the amber on the pit, so I'm getting 1 more amber. And that's all I'm going to do on that turn, which is not a lot, but I'm making a better line, which is not too bad, and I'm also starting to be able to do some damage. Okay, so it's Keyraken time. Let's draw a card. Action. I hate you. So it gets a number and play. Ward. Why does it have a tide? That's weird. Why there is a tide icon on these cards where the effect is not linked with the tide? That's weird. Huh. In normal condition, when a card have this icon there, which is the same as this card here, that mean that the effect linked is linked with the tide situation. But this is not talking about the tide at all. So why? Have they made a boo-boo? Well, the wording is saying ward the Keyraken and each of its creature. So ward these nope, the blue one. These tokens. I need 3 of them. So a ward is some form of super armor. So basically, a creature with a ward, if you deal damage to it, or anything that target the creature and should destroy it or should remove it from the board, the ward is removed instead, which is pretty annoying. So for example, if I fight with a creature, it's only going to remove the ward. Even if I do more damage, if I do 6 damage with a creature, for example, it's not going to remove 1 damage, it's removing all damage, but the ward is removed if I do that. That's annoying. I gave it 1 number, 1, 2, 3, 1, yep. Next is a creature, prey, the most powerful creature. Well, that's a bad and a good thing at the same time, because the tide is high, so it's not going to kill my most powerful creature, and that one is going to die, dealing damage to the Keyraken. Oh, it's Skirmish, obviously. So Skirmish is the opposite of elusive. I mean, opposite is when this creature is attacking, it doesn't get damage. If I attack it, it's going to get damage, but if it attack me, it doesn't take damage, which means that I'm not going to deal damage to it. I'm not going to deal damage to the Keyraken. Yeah. They thought about that. Great. Next. What's happening? Oh, I'm going to forge the next turn. Great. Unless it's going to steal 1. It's going to steal 1, but I still will have enough because the tide is high and I can spend amber on friendly creatures as if they were on my pool. I have 5 there, 2 there, so I would still have enough to forge a key. So the armor on the Keyraken is going to lower. which is good. Okay, so it's going to rip, which means that it's definitely going to advanced, but I'm little in advance. This is going to rip too. Oh, it's not draw cards. Ooh. Oops. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, that is good. That is great. Sorry. That is perfect timing, because this card, your opponent key costs, I mean, it's not a key there, but your opponent key costs plus X Humber, where X is Mookling's power. So the power currently is 2. So in that case, it's not the key, it's the cost for advancing. So if I play that, the cost is not 6 now, it would be 8. And if I can add power counter to it, with that, for example, it's going to cost more. So if I manage to rank it to 4, for example, the key for it to advance is going to cost 6 plus 4, 10, which is perfect timing. So that means that is going to spend more amber to advance than it normally would, and that's always good. That's always good, whatever happens in the game. So this one is going to rip and get 1 amber and steal 1 from me, which is bad. This one is prey, so that attack me but do nothing because I have enough armor and it deal only 3. I have 4 armor because of the effect of that. So yep, then it's going to use that stun and exhaust 1 of creature. If all of your creatures are stunned, destroy Whirlpool and lower the tide, but not all of my creature is stunned. That's interesting. So the wording is not clear, but I can only do that on a creature which is not stunned, I suppose. I'm going to stun that one because that's the only Scion I have. So let's use another stun token and exhaust it. Okay. And I have done everything, so that's the end of the Keyraken turn. Oh. No, that... I forgot that card. Oopsie. Oh, great. I mean, it's... I gain 3 chains. Yay. Doesn't change what I was going to do anyway. Good. So, I'm going for Untame because that's the most makes a lot of any kind of sound can do. Rip with it. So first, I forge a key. I use all of my amber, so I use 6 amber. I'm going to forge a key. So my blue key is now forged, which is good. It means that the armor of the Keyraken is now 4, which means that it's easier for me to deal damage to it. Then still don't. Then I'm going to play Untamed. So I'm going to play my Mookling, which means that its key now costs 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Then I'm going to play Genetic Drift. That gives me 1 amber. Give a creature a +1 power counter. So I'm going it to my Mookling. Then give each creature with +1 power counter another +1 power counter. So basically they all get 1 more. So they all now have 2 power counter. Oh wait. That's not friendly creature, so that is on to annoying. Nope, that's a damage. So I also get +1, +1, and +1. That's annoying. Yeah, because this is give each friendly creature a +1 power counter, but this one says then give each creature with a... They don't have one, so they don't get one. Silly me. Okay. So I cannot use my Mulling because I've just played it. What should I do? Did this one deal 4 damage and have 2 or more? Oh, and because of these two, the tide is high. I play 1 creature, I get 2 amber. 2 amber. So its key costs 10 now, so that's all the amber there. So this one I That's... should I fight the Keyraken or should I destroy? Because right now that creature I don't really care, because it's going to fight that one. It's not going to deal damage to that one because of the armor. Up so far. Well, the tide is going to... Oh. Well, that's just one. That's not enough to... That's not enough to be really annoying. I don't really care about that one. Up so far, it's not a really great deal. So I'm tempted to fight again the Keyraken, because... Oh, yeah, but I should fight the Keyraken with... but if I do that, I'm going to... Then I'm going to fight that with that one, this one, so I take 3 damage, but this one is dead. No, I don't take 3 damage, I take 1 damage because of the armor. Yes, which deal 3 more damage to the Keyraken. So it's now at... let's put a 5... 6... My brain is not math, so it had 12 damage. 5... No. Yeah, it's 12 damage, so let's do that this way. It's easier to count. It's not a lot. Then I'm going to fight to remove the ward, so I can fight more easily later. Still take 1 damage because I still have the armor. I still have the armor there, +2. And I'm going to end my turn on that. So sadly the Keyraken is going to advance. I'm going to use that to mark. So it advanced by 1. Let's put it here. And it used all of its amber because I'm naughty. Okay, oh, I could put it here. Oh, and I forgot to draw, and as I do have chains, I have to draw just 1, which is not great, but better than nothing. and reduce the chain by 1. I'm now at 2. Next turn, I probably should go Sanctum. Destroy each creature that does not share a house with at least one of its neighbors. That is useless in this situation. Totally useless. Friendly creature capture 1. Each of its neighbors that share a house with it also capture 1. We will see what happens. So the tide change. So let's play one card. If the tide is low, heal 6 damage from the Keyraken. Are you kidding? Oh. Second card. Tidal Trouble. It gets 1 amber. Stun your most powerful creature and each creature that shares a house with it. If the tide is high, you may lower the tide effect. My goodness. Then the Keyraken rip, that thing rip, and this one rip and steal 1 from me. So that fire, stun 1 of my creature. Going to stun and exhaust my Muckling. Oh gosh. That completely changed what I can do next turn. Basically, I mean, try to have 5 amber. Are you kidding? Oh gosh, that's going to be very brutal. Anyway, so that's the end of the Keyraken turn. Great. What should I do? So this card is completely useless. I'm not going to destroy my own creatures, and that does not share house. It doesn't really have house, but they share. I mean, they have the same house. That could be useful, but that's the only card I can really play this turn, which is not great. Third creature, Rip Exalted. That's not bad. Play Rip. You may exalt a friendly non-Saurian creature. If you do, Rip with it. That's actually good. After Venerable Bomb is dealt damage, if the tide is low, exalt it. It's actually good. I'm going for Saurian. I'm definitely going for Saurian. So, first thing, I'm going to use that one to remove the stun. Then I'm going to play my Senator here. It's actually good because of this effect. So the tide is low right now, but if I rip or if I rip, I can. I mean, if I rip and I kill his creature, I will get the amber on it. But I can also use all the amber which is on my creature when the tide is high, which is good. Probably should raise the tide. It's cost 3 plus 4. It doesn't have enough to forge. So let's play that Saurian card here. Oh, that's going to be actually the highest. So play Rip. You may exalt a friendly non-Saurian creature. If you do, Rip with it. I'm going to exalt. I could use that as at my advantage to unstun that creature. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I cannot Rip because it is stunned, but I'm going to remove the stun by using that. Then I'm playing that one, which we have a capture pip. So this icon here tells that when I play that card, I capture. So I take one of his amber and put on one of my creatures, which is not too bad. I'm going to put it here because it's a tough creature. Okay. So that's probably all I can do. Am I going to pay 2 amber to change the tide? No, because it cannot. I mean, I don't know what it's going to draw, but it cannot fight the next turn, so it cannot. It should not be able to deal damage. So the armor is not critical. It's going to be more critical on next turn, and it cannot forge anyway because of that. So let's just change that because I don't want my Muckling to be on the side alone, just in case. My battle line is big. So that's the end of my turn. I only have 2 cards. I still have chains, so I draw up to 5. So I draw 3 cards. 1, 2. Okay, 3. I lower my chains by 1. Probably going to do Sanctum next turn. We'll see. Depends on what the Keyraken is doing. Okay. Yeah, my battle line doesn't fit on screen. Nice. Oh dear. Oh, and I have one more card. I have one more card. Let's slightly twitch on each other like that. Yep. Good. So, what the Keyraken is doing, it's drawing 1 card, which is an action card, which give it a number. It cannot advance because it doesn't have enough amber. Exhaust your most powerful creature and each creature you control that share house with it. If the tide is high, the Keyraken archive 1 adventure card. The tide is not high, so that was good. So the most powerful is that one. So all of my Saurian cards are exhausted. I'm not going to move them too much because it's annoying. Okay. Next card. Ooh. Taunt. That's the same as this one. Great. So next it's Rip here. And all are going to Rip, so that's at least 4 amber. That's going to be really fast, and that one is studying from me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I already have enough to forge the next key. Whoa! Wow. Anyway, and it's turn and exhaust one of my creature. Going to stun that one. It's already exhausted, so it cannot be more exhausted. That's painful. That is extremely painful. So. I don't have enough amber to forge a key. So let's go Sanctum this time. I have good reasons. So let's discard that completely useless card because I'm not going to destroy my own card. Destroy each creature that does not share a house with at least one of its neighbors. It's useless. Then. So I'm going to unstun that one. I'm not going to be able to use it this turn. But this one is ready. I can use it to fight. So it's 6. Oh, I need to make amber before that. I need to raise the tide before attacking. Probably done a mistake when the tide moved earlier. But that's too late now. Friendly catcher, capture 1. Each of its neighbors that share house, capture 1. I'm going to be able to prevent it to advance, sorry, by using the cards I have in my hands. So I get a number from that, which is good. Then I'm going to capture with this creature. So it captured 1. Each of its neighbors that share house with it, so this one only, also capture 1. So I capture 2. Then I'm going to play... Do I play that first? I'm not going to play it first. I'm going to spend 2 amber to raise the tide. So I get my bonus armor on every single of my creatures. Then I'm going to fight with that creature, the Keyraken. So I'm dealing 8 damage. Yeah, I'm going to deal 8 damage. So that's 5 and 3. Oh, I raise the tide, and after I play another tide, capture 2 from its opponent. Boop. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I have enough to forge another key. Oh, it's not 8. It's 8 minus 3. 4. I still have 4 armor. Panic. So the advantage of having that my amber here, the seal effect only apply on my command, on my pull, and not amber on my creatures. So unless you kill my creatures, it cannot steal my amber. So I will be able to forge on next turn, which is good. Then. Then I'm going to use that to capture 2 more that I'm going to put. Yeah, so that doesn't work because it's not a creature in that case. I'm going to put these 2 on. On that creature. So it does not really matter. And then I'm going to use that. I've been playing creatures, not getting amber from these. Whatever. It's too late now. I haven't played creature on this turn. I'm not going to fully heal. I'm going to ready and fight. So I'm going to ready that creature and fight this thing there. I've done the 2 capture. So this is taking 2 damage here. Oh, is it really worth doing that? No, I'm going to fight the Keyraken. So I take 0 damage and deal 7 to the Keyraken. So let's take... still have some 5. So it takes 7, so that's 5 and 2. So it's now have 17 damage, which is about half of its health. Oh, gosh. Okay, so that's the end of my turn. I have no other cards I can play, and I ready all of my cards. And I still have 1 chain, so I can draw cards lower to 0, but I still draw to 5. So I draw 3 cards, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. So, the Keyraken turn. The key costs 6 plus 4, which is way more than it have. So it cannot forge. It cannot advance, sorry. Then I draw the first card. The first card is an action card that give it 1 number. Play War the Key. Whatever. That's an artifact that's not going to be able to use. Action, the Keyraken creature with the highest power capture 1 from you. If you have number, destroy Swift Current and lower the tides. Oh, great. So there is no praise, so everything is going to rip. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It cannot steal because I don't have any amber. So that's 4 amber for the Keyraken. 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. Then it's going to stun and exhaust one of my creatures. I'm going to think just a little bit. I'm going for Untamed or for Saurian next turn. Move on from a creature to another creature. Turn this creature before attacking enemy creature again before fight exalt this creature. I'm going for Untamed, so I'm going to stun. I'm going to stun this one and exhaust it. And that's the end of the Keyraken turn, and that's the beginning of my own turn. I still have the tide. I have more than enough amber to forge a key because of this effect. So 1, 2, yes, that's the opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I forge my second key. So now the Keyraken armor is 2. That is genius. That is perfect. His key costs 10, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I need to capture still 2 to prevent it to forge, which is probably not going to happen. But, well, I mean, it's half dead. It's half dead. And I'm going to annoy it by playing Untamed. So yeah, I'm going to annoy it by playing Untamed. So I'm going to play my Kanga Font, which each creature gain rip, destroy this creature. So one is going to rip with this creature, as they are. That's probably going to happen for the. Yeah. That's also target the Keyraken, I'm pretty sure. So, that's an edge case. You cannot destroy with this effect, but I think that the one may not be removed. Yeah. But these one are going to be to lose their ward. So let's put it on the right side. Then I'm going to no, I'm not playing it first. I'm going to rip with these two that give me 2 amber. Then I'm going to play it because I don't want to destroy my own creatures. Obviously, I play that because of these two. I get 2 amber. Then I'm going to play Ambermancy, which allow me to remove up to 3, so I get 1 amber from it. Then remove up to 3 plus 1 power counter from a creature, again 1 amber for each remove this way. I'm going to remove them from this one and gain 2 amber from that. So I have enough amber to forge next turn, so the armor would be to 0, which not be too bad because that means I deal direct damage. And then I'm going to do persistent hunting, choose house, exhaust each enemy creatures of that chosen house. I'm sorry, I'm going to exhaust all of your creature, and I get also a number from that. So it's not going to be able to use this creature next turn. So it's still going to forge, but is not going to rip with everything, which is probably good. Anyway, and that's all I'm going to do on that turn. So I end my turn there. Now I have 0 chain. I draw up to 6. Draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That deck looks interesting. I'm going to need to play this deck in normal. Okay. Next. Keyraken turn. So first card. That's actually a creature which is elusive, rip. If the tide is low, the Keyraken archive 1 adventure card. Destroy, deal as usual. So it cannot use it. It's protected by a taunt, which is fun. The other one is an artifact. Give the Keyraken creature with the lowest power counter plus 3 power counter. Wow. But it's not going to be able to use it right now, which is good. Oh, I forgot to advance the Keyraken. Sorry about that. Its key still cost 10, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it advanced 2 times now. So it's still going to rip once, because the Keyraken is not a creature, blah blah blah. So I'm going to have to stun. What do we have in my discard? Is it really worth? Wait, what do we have? Cancel premiums. Move 1 number from. Yeah, I can raise his key cost even more. I don't know. I could deal a lot of damage, which is probably what should be done with that, and and the tide is law. No. Are there anything about the law? So we archive one card. Okay. I think that I'm going to make it to stun my Kangafant. My battle line is a mess. It's a bit too big, but yeah. That's Keyforge. Okay, so this one is the Keyraken creatures with the highest power. Capture 1 from you. If you have no amber, destroy. Well, I do have amber, so it's going to capture here. These have the same, so I choose on which one. And if you have no amber, destroy and lower the tide. The tide is already low. I cannot change that, and I do have amber anyway. So that's the end of its turn. I ready everything. Okay. So I have enough to forge. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from here. I have enough to forge my last key, which is good. That means that now I can directly deal damage, other than the ward obviously, but I can directly deal damage to the Keyraken. And I'm going to play Sanctum. So by this one is not ready, so I'm going to play Sanctum. So the first thing I'm going to do is to play Light Everlasting, which give me a number. And I can play a Sanctum creature from my discard pile anywhere on that battle line. So I have this nice Martial Aware that have a play effect which is Raise the Tide for free, which is good. So I'm going to play it anywhere on that battle line, so I can put it here, which is because that allowed me to do that. So I'm putting it here. It's obviously not ready, so I cannot use it. So I'm going to fight with Larry of the Lake on the Keyraken to remove the walls. You should not be there. Then I'm going to fight the Keyraken with that one, which no, the Keyraken doesn't have any armor, so I deal the full 8 damage. So 8 is so it's going to be 10. So I need 2, 5. So 8 is 5 and 3. So I'm going to another 5 now. I do. So it's now at 5 hit points from death. Am I going to be able to do it? We will see. We never know with Keyforge. Things can change really fast. Oh dear. So that's the end of... I drop all of my cards. That's the end of my turn. I have actually 5 cards in my hand. So I draw 1 card, which is an untamed card. Oh, I play 1 creature, so I gain 2 amber. Which I'm not very sure what I'm going to do with all of that amber now that I have all of my keys, but who knows. That's a pool of amber for it to steal, I suppose. Okay, so my battle line is ready, everything is ready, and that's the Keyraken turn. Oh, and by playing that, I completely forgot about it, I did raise the tide. And I did capture 2. And I'm going to put them there. A lot of stuff happened. Okay. So now it's going to play is on archive, which is an upgrade. The Keyraken gains. Oops. The Keyraken gains. Rip archive one adventure card. After a player forges a key, destroying primordial. Well, that's a bit late. I've already forged off my keys. So upgrades only apply to the Keyraken. Okay. Next, he play one card from the draw, which is Race to the Surface, and give it one number. For each time the Keyraken has advanced this game, it archives one adventure card. Great. Draw that many cards from your... What? What? From your own deck? For each time the Keyraken has advanced this game, it archives one adventure card. Draw that many cards from your own deck? What? Why it would draw a card from mine? I think that's a typo there. It's not going to draw adventure card from my deck. So to archive 2 cards. I don't know where they are. Next, another upgrade. The exact same. So it's not going to rip and archive 2 cards. 2 more cards. That's going to be crazy next turn, if there is a next turn. It may not. It may not. I may win next turn. Wow. Who thought that? Anyway, I've played 2 cards. Yes, I did play 2 cards. So then starts the reaping effect. So it rip, gain at 1 number, archive 2 more cards, 1 and 2. This one is going to rip, lose his ward because of the effect of my Q. Kangafant, which is rip, destroy this creature. It's not going to be destroyed of the ward because of the ward, but oh, great. So this one do the same. It rip, give it 1 number and steal 1 from me. This one is going to rip, lose its ward, and that one is going to rip. But because of the... No, they happen at the same time. So if the tide is low, the Keyraken archive 1 card. Nope, it's not low, it's high. So it ripped, give it 1 number, do nothing, and then get destroyed. Being destroyed, deal 3 damage to the Keyraken. Oh, that would have been fun if 2 had died in the same turn. But sadly, it does not happen. Then artifacts. So this one is give the Keyraken creature with the lowest power counter +3. So that's a damage counter. It shouldn't be there. Then stun and exhaust 1 of my creature. I'm going to stun and exhaust 1 of my untamed creatures, so this one there. The Keyraken's creature with the highest power counter. Boop. Let's be fair here. And that's the end of the Keyraken turn. Will it have another turn? I don't think so, because reasons. Oh dear. So I think that the best thing I have to do is just go Sanctum and fight. I mean, I have no reason to do anything else. So it have 30, so then yeah, just fight with that one. It's dead, and yeah, I managed to do it. Oh gosh. I don't know if I've been lucky or... Wow. Oh man, it doesn't have enough to forge next turn. Don't know if I've been lucky or it's just my deck is powerful enough, but oh my god, that artifact is perfect for that. Wow. I don't know if I've been lucky or not. That is weird. Right. I'm not going to complain. Oh dear. 2 hours. Yeah. Well, a bit less because of the standing by in the beginning, which was not working. Don't know how long it went. Wow, 1 hour and 30 minutes-ish? That's long. Don't think I've done a lot of mistakes. Well, I've lost a lot of amber that I could have won because of my setup, but yeah. Having such a big... I mean, I don't know, does it... I don't remember. I've checked very fast what was the other card, but I don't think it does have anything to destroy one of my creatures. I think I've been lucky, but yeah, I think I've been lucky. I'm not going to complain to have been lucky. Wow, that was brutal. Take photo. Where's my phone? Oop. Wow. What was the archive card? So one more of these. Race to the surface. Pure its grandeur. The Keyraken gains 1 amber for each creature you control that share a house with one or more of his neighbors, maximum 4. Destroy one of your artifacts. Exhaust 3 of your creatures. That was crazy. Well, I think I'm going to stop there. That was fun. Don't know if anyone is going to watch that or if anyone watched that. I hope that some people watched that. Don't hesitate to ask any question on social media or everything. I think that I've set up. Yeah, I set up my social media information. So if you watch that on the VOD and have any question about Keyforge, don't hesitate to ask me questions here directly if you're here on chat or on social media after the stream has been done. If you watch that on VOD, I mean, people may watch that on VOD. I don't know. And yeah, so going to wrap this up and yeah. So thanks for watching, whoever watched that, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. So many tokens. Whoa. That was a crazy game. I don't know if I won because it was the first game and, you know, all things work when it's the first game. Beginner's luck. Well, I'm not really a beginner at Keyforge, but yeah, beginners at this mod. I'm pretty sure I've done some mistake, but it seems to be reasonably straightforward, though. Not going to complain there. I may play again tomorrow, or may do something else tomorrow. I have a Lego to build, so may do that tomorrow. Now that things are back, set up back. We'll see. If I don't do that tomorrow, that's probably going to be Sunday. Anyway. Oh, more cards there. Thanks for watching.